wind on the way and possibly...
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5 a.m.
Yes, it is. 5 a.m. Settling into some changes around here, so just bear with us. We're getting there. Everything's going to be just fine, you know?
Right.
It's going to be just fine. We're going to have a little fun along the way. Why not? I mean,
And if we send Chris running across the room multiple times,
be
it.
I need the exercise. I mean, don't give me, look, I really need the exercise. So honestly, the more running I can do this morning, probably the better for me. And I'm getting paid to do it. You don't get paid to go to the gym. You have to pay the gym to go there. See?
There you
Works
go.
out.
There you go.
It's a win-win situation. What is not so much a win-win situation is our wind situation. Yeah, I know. We thought we were over it. Well, unfortunately, we are not. As we head into this afternoon, we're going to see wind gusts picking back up again, 20, 30, and for some of us, even upwards of 40 miles an hour. And as we head into tonight and tomorrow, the winds continue to increase. By 2 a.m., look at this, 40-mile-an-hour wind gusts. And if that's not enough for you, don't worry. It's going to get stronger. 50-mile-an-hour wind gusts again as we head into our Friday. So do be prepared for that. As you see, though, they don't die down nearly as quickly. This is Friday evening. Still, winds gusting 40, 45 miles an hour out there. Right now, though, the wind is pretty calm. East-southeast at 9. It's going to stay that way until about 10:30, 11 o'clock this morning. 29. Feels like 20. So quite chilly out there. Cold across the area, 28 Chanute, 27 Pittsburgh, 29 Carthage, 30 down there in Neosho. Live look at the MoDOT camera, looking at 36 in Rangeline. We're looking good so far. We got a green light for the morning drive, mostly clear skies and in the 20s to near 30. But we do have that yellow light as the wind picks up this afternoon. We'll be in the 40s. Still pretty clear skies. In fact, we shouldn't really see hardly any clouds this afternoon, but it's going to be quite breezy. Kids getting on the bus this morning, they're going to need that jacket, 28 degrees, and they might still need it when they get home, 46, but with that wind gusting upwards of 30, it'll still make it feel kind of cool out there. Mostly clear skies, even some clear skies out there with the winds increasing this afternoon, heading for a high of 49. As we go into tonight, still quite breezy and cold, 37 degrees for the overnight low early. We're going to hit that about 9, 10 o'clock, and the temperatures will begin to rise toward morning. Look at 6 a.m., 48 degrees. Heading into the weekend, we're looking at 40 and mostly cloudy on Saturday and 51 on Sunday with some partly cloudy skies. May see a stray shower or two on Saturday and possibly one late Sunday, but otherwise we're staying pretty dry. We'll take a complete look at your 7-day forecast and the continuing roller coaster ride of temperatures and some additional rain chances here in just a couple of minutes.
All right, got a lot to discuss, and we've got a 3-hour show to do it.
I think that's more than enough time. At least I hope so.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, Chris. Well, a man is found dead after a house fire in southwest Missouri. Emergency crews in Monette, Missouri put out the fire in the 300 block of 2nd Street on Tuesday. Then they found the man's body in the basement. No word on his identity. Monette Fire and Police and the Missouri State Fire Marshal's office are investigating the cause of the fire. Well, the man accused of shooting 3 people in Baxter Springs Monday is now formally charged. 41-year-old Kyle Butts of Independence, Missouri, is charged with 2 counts of murder, 1 count of attempted murder, and other crimes. Butts is accused of killing Jeremy Murphy and Craig Gwynn at a Baxter Springs home Monday afternoon. Their autopsies are scheduled for today. The 3rd victim, Seth Gwynn, was taken to Freeman. At last report, he remains in critical condition. Authorities in Aurora, Missouri arrest 2 people suspected of robbing a McDonald's at gunpoint on Tuesday. Now, this is a surveillance image from inside the McDonald's on South Elliott. Police say around 10 p.m., 2 people wearing masks entered the store. One pulled out a handgun and asked an employee to open the register. Authorities say they found evidence used in the robbery, including the gun. The robbers took an undisclosed amount of cash and ran. No one was hurt during the robbery. The Merriam-Webster Dictionary declares gaslighting as its 2022 word of the year, but what does that mean? The dictionary defines gaslighting as a psychological manipulation of a person over an extended period of time that causes the victim to question their reality. The goal is for the victim to rely entirely on the manipulator, typically a narcissist, for their perception of reality. Mental health experts say gaslighting requires planting seeds of doubt in order to exert control and distort the victim's view of reality.
And it would be similar to someone who would walk through a room, who is sighted, they can walk through a room just fine. But you ask them to close their eyes and walk through that same room, they begin to doubt their perception.
Mental health experts say knowing what gaslighting is can help you spot red flags and protect yourself from being gaslighted. Coming up in our 6 o'clock hour, our own Amber Jenkins sits down with some mental health experts, takes a closer look at gaslighting. Well, a species of bat that's found in Missouri, Kansas, and Oklahoma has been declared endangered. The northern long-eared bat has been decimated by a fungal disease called white nose syndrome. It's named for its white fuzzy spots that appear on infected bats, and it attacks bats' wings, muzzles, and ears when they hibernate in caves and abandoned mines. Because of this, some caves where the bats live have been closed to the public.
Another way is to protect the habitat around the caves, because a lot of these caves are good winter homes for the bats because of their temperatures of the airflow. And if you destroy the trees around them, if you change the landscape around the cave opening, that changes the airflow in the cave. That could also affect it. That could also negatively impact it as a winter home for bats.
The disease was first documented in the U.S. in 2006. It's infected 12 types of bats and killed millions.
All right, quick look at sunrise, sunset. The sun will rise today at 7:13 this morning, and it will set at 5:01 this evening. Now for that 7-day forecast. Warming up tomorrow, 58, maybe some rain showers. We get the little dip, and then we come back up going Sunday, Monday, and more rain chances. A little cooler on Tuesday, warmer by Wednesday and Thursday. More rain chances Thursday, and we're still looking at dropping back into the 30s by the end of next week.
That's a look at AM morning news. Lamar Tigers are just 2 days away from playing at State. We'll have more on how they're prepping for the big game.
Plus, authorities in California release more information on a tragic murder that claimed the lives of 3 people.
And the FDA looks to change guidelines on blood donation. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back.
Lamar Tigers are just 2 days away from playing for a state championship. The Tigers face Blair Oaks on Friday in Columbia in the Missouri Class II state title game. Lamar is 12-1 heading into Friday. On the other side, Blair Oaks is a perfect 13-0. Now, last week, Lamar beat Big 8 rival Seneca 56-14 in the state semifinals to get back to the championship game. They've been working for this opportunity since last year when they made the state championship game but lost, finishing as state runner-up for the first time in program history.
I think it's been
Well, the Missouri Southern Lions are less than 24 hours away from their first MIAA matchup of the season. The Lions welcome in the Northwest Missouri State Bearcats tomorrow to open conference play. Now, on the men's side, it's a tough one for Southern, facing the #1 team in the nation. But the Lions do have a little momentum. After an 0-2 start to the season, they've gotten on a roll and won 4 straight, heading into their big matchup with the Bearcats.
It feels good. You know, we're playing at a good pace right now, defensively and offensively. We obviously got a long ways to go, got to get better, but we're in a good spot right now. We're just getting used to each other. You know, it's a new staff and some new players, so we're getting a little confidence, you know, going into this MIAA schedule, and we're ready to compete, ready to get after it.
Confidence is definitely growing. You know, coaches have instilled that in us. Instilled the right way to play, the right way to win, what you have to do to win, and we've been doing those things, so it's been showing out on the court.
Division I here, undefeated K-State faces Butler in the Big 12 Big East battle. Pierce Thomas for Butler, jam and the foul. Butler up 11. Then we head to the second half. I don't know if this was a pass or a bad miss, but Manny Bates goes up and throws it down off the backboard for Butler. It gets the lead back to 7. Bates just dunked all night. I know this one was a pass. Bates throws down the alley-oop. Butler hands K-State their first loss of the season, 76-64. President is going back. Plain field passing away at the age of 96. We'll have the latest on that and another check of your forecast when the KOAM Morning News returns. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. It is 5:15, time for a little weather trivia for you today. So we want to know, a line of intense, widespread, and fast-moving thunderstorms is known as what? Is it a haboob, a derecho, a squall line, or a surge? While you think about that, let's take a look at this particular squall of wind. Look at this. As we head into this afternoon, winds are going to start increasing, gusts pushing 20, 30, and in parts of southeast Kansas, upwards of 40 miles an hour as we head into this afternoon and this evening. We go into the overnight hours. Winds now gusting 40 to 45 miles an hour by 2 a.m., and that's not the strongest they're going to get. We go into tomorrow afternoon. We return to what we saw Tuesday, wind gusts pushing 50 miles an hour across the area. And by Friday evening, you can see they're still gusting. They don't let up as quickly as they did on Tuesday, so just be aware of that. 7th and range line, not looking too bad out there. 29 degrees and clear skies right now. Light breeze, though, making it feel like 20. Chilly start to the day. Well, we can just be honest. A straight up cold start to the day. 27 Yates Center, 26 Iola, 27 in Fort Scott and Pittsburgh, 26 Miami, 30 Neosho, and 29 in Carthage. Live look at the MoDOT camera at 36 in range line. Looks good so far. We do have a green light for your morning drive as will be mostly clear and the winds are going to remain calm for the first part of the day. But as we head home and into the afternoon, those winds pick up. So yellow light is, even though we're pretty sunny, not bad temperature-wise, those winds are going to be an issue. Kids getting on the bus this morning. Again, a calm breeze to start the day, but cold, 28 degrees. By the time they get home at 3, we're looking at winds gusting upwards of 30 miles an hour, 46, and otherwise mostly clear skies. And that's going to be the theme. We'll have a few passing clouds, and we should get pretty clear, heading for a high of 49. Now, this is the fun thing. Look at 8 o'clock. We're 38 degrees. We're going to hit a low of 37, say right around 9 or 10 o'clock. And as the south breeze increases, brings in more warm air, take a look at this. Temperatures rise through the overnight, and we're near 50 by sunrise tomorrow. As we head into the weekend, a little cooler on Saturday, 40, and then 51 on Sunday. Maybe a stray shower either of those days. Otherwise, I think most of us dry. Now, to the answer to our trivia question. If you happen to pick B, derecho, you would be correct. So, a haboob is another name for a sandstorm or dust storm. A squall line is a smaller line of thunderstorms. We're familiar with those. And a surge is an increase in seawater height due to storms. Quick check of the 7-day. So, we got the rain chances tomorrow, 58. And then we get into Monday. More rain chances Monday, Tuesday. We cool down, then we warm back up. We get to 63 by Thursday. More rain chances, and then we get cold again to close out next week. Temperatures in the 30s. Well, police in Riverside, California are releasing more information about the triple murder of a woman and her parents whose remains were found in their charred home after Thanksgiving. Investigators say the suspect in the killings, a former Virginia state trooper, enticed a 15-year-old girl with a false online identity, drove cross-country to meet her, and then committed the crimes. Dania Bacchus has the latest from Los Angeles.
Police in Riverside, California are pouring through triple murder suspect Austin Lee Edwards' digital footprints. They're trying to pinpoint how and when the 28-year-old, posing as a 17-year-old, met and developed an online relationship with a Riverside teenager.
We don't know if this was the first physical encounter they had. It's very possible it was, but we also don't know yet if she knew that he was coming to California.
The former Virginia state trooper died of a self-inflicted gunshot wound during a shootout with police in the Mojave Desert hours after police found the murdered remains of the girl's mother, 38-year-old Brooke Winnick, and her grandparents, 65-year-old Sherry Winnick and 69-year-old Mark Winnick, in their burned home. Police say a neighbor tipped them off after growing suspicious of Edwards' car and noticing the girl appeared to be in distress. The 15-year-old was not harmed in the shootout. Detectives say there's no evidence she was complicit in the killings.
We don't know yet if she was threatened, coerced. We're not describing it as a kidnapping at this point.
This horrific event started with an inappropriate online romance between a predator and a child.
Michelle Blandon's father, mother, and sister were killed.
Parents, please know your child's online activity. Ask questions about what they are doing and whom they are talking to. Anybody can say they're someone else.
The teen is receiving medical treatment and is in the care of Child Protective Services. Dania Bacchus, CBS News.
That brings us to our question for you this morning. Should parents monitor their kids' online activity? Yes or no? You can vote at KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. You can do so through our app and take part in the discussion on our Facebook page. We'll be back with Health Watch right after this.
Topping Health Watch this morning. The Food and Drug Administration said Wednesday it is shifting its blood donation policy away from blanket assessments toward individual risk-based donor screening. In a statement, the agency specifically mentioned risk-based screening for HIV. The FDA did not offer further details, but the Wall Street Journal, citing sources familiar with the plans, reported the changes would let more men donate blood. Potential donors who've had a new male sexual partner in the past 3 months would be asked more specific questions about their sexual activity. Depending on their answers, according to the paper, they might be allowed to donate blood. The current policy requires men to wait 3 months after sexual contact with other men before they can donate blood. A long-awaited trial data on a potential treatment for Alzheimer's disease has now been published, and it shows potential in the fight against the disease. Mandy Gaither has more on the study and why there are still some safety concerns.
For those affected by Alzheimer's disease, it's been a roller coaster ride when it comes to potential treatments. Weeks after another therapy disappoints in clinical trials, new information about another treatment that its drug makers say shows some potential.
That's maybe one of the first medication we have that's such a positive result so far. But we have to be cautious about it.
Dr. Bebek Tusi is lead investigator of Cleveland Clinic's side of the study of lecanemab. Phase 3 results on the medication published in the New England Journal of Medicine suggest that at 18 months, lecanemab was associated with more clearance of amyloid, a protein associated with Alzheimer's, and less cognitive decline.
This medication, if it's approved, it's going to be for very earliest stage of Alzheimer's disease.
But there are still safety concerns. About 6.9% of those who took lecanemab in the trial discontinued use due to complications, including reactions to the infusions and abnormalities on their MRIs, such as brain swelling and brain bleeding. Overall, there were serious adverse events in 14% of the lecanemab group and more than 11% of the group that got a placebo. The researchers say longer trials are needed to determine the safety and efficacy of this potential treatment.
Of course, we're trying to find a better medication, and that can only achieve it if more people show interest in participating in clinical trials.
The Alzheimer's Association said in a statement Tuesday that it welcomes and is further encouraged by the full Phase 3 data. That's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
We've got some windy conditions ahead of us as we head into the afternoon. So a calm start to the day. Winds will start to pick up, gusting 20, 30, in some cases 40 miles an hour this afternoon. We head into the overnight hours. 2 a.m. we start to see 40 to 45 mile an hour wind gusts. And as we head into tomorrow and tomorrow afternoon, we look at the 50 mile an hour wind gusts returning. So make sure your trash can is secure and do not inflate your Christmas inflatables again tonight or tomorrow, because they're probably going to get blown away. Take a look at the temperatures. We're chilly though, 29 degrees. Thankfully the wind not blowing at 50 because it'd be feeling a lot colder. 20 degrees is what it feels like. Cold temperatures across the region, 28 Chanute, 27 Pittsburgh, 28 Lamar, and 26 down in Miami. Live look at the MoDOT camera, 36 in Rangeline. Good for your commuter cast for this morning as we're going to be clear with the calm winds, but we do have the yellow light as the winds pick up this afternoon. We're otherwise sunny and in the 40s. Kids getting on the bus this morning needing that coat, 28 degrees. They may still need a jacket when they get home as we get to 46, but that's when we see the wind increase. We got a complete look at your forecast when the KOAM Morning News returns.
Right now at 5:30, Merriam-Webster releases its word of the year. We'll have what it is and how it affects more people than you think.
We've got a calm start to our morning so far, but we've got increasing winds for us as we go into the next couple of days. We'll break that all down coming up.
And a species of bat located in Kansas, Missouri, and Oklahoma gets put on the endangered list.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It is 5:29. I'm Tanya Bach.
I'm Chris Warner. So it's a great Thursday morning across the 4 states. Doing pretty good so far.
Yeah.
Things are going all right, aren't they? Everybody doing all right at home?
And it's almost Friday.
Yeah, that is true. It is almost Friday. Can you believe it? It's December the 1st. Like, it didn't even really register until I was doing a weather update this morning for social media, and it had the date down there, and I'm like, oh my gosh.
And that means tonight, Doug will have his month-long forecast.
Yes, he's got the full winter forecast tonight on KOAM News, so make sure you tune in and watch because it is the most essential planning forecast of your life. Doug's winter forecast. We'll have that this evening. We, of course, do not have that winter forecast for you this morning. That's Doug's job. That's why he's the chief meteorologist, and I'm just the morning guy. But we do have some windy conditions coming. As we head into this afternoon, winds will start gusting 20, 30, even up to 40 miles an hour. And as we head overnight, wind gusts increase to 40 to even 45 miles an hour. And by the time we get into tomorrow and tomorrow afternoon, yeah, those 50-mile-an-hour wind gusts do return across the area. Right now, though, winds are calm. And even with that calm wind, it's 29 in Joplin, feels like 20 across in the city. And if we look at temperatures across the area, 28 Chanute, 27 Fort Scott, Pittsburgh, 28 Nevada, Lamar, and 26 down in Miami. Live look at the MoDOT camera, 36 in Rangeline, looking good so far. And we got a green light for that morning drive as we're looking all right. We're mostly clear in the 20s. A yellow light for the drive home as those winds really do start to pick up. But we will be sunny. Kids getting on the bus, needing that jacket, 28 at 7 a.m., mostly clear. Winds pick up this afternoon, 46 and mostly clear by 3 o'clock. Heading for a high today of 49 degrees with sunny skies. And we'll have clouds increasing tonight. We'll have an early low of 37, say around 9, 10 o'clock. And then temperatures begin to warm overnight with that south breeze. We're going to take a look at your 7-day forecast and what the weekend holds here in just a couple of minutes.
All right. Sounds good. Our roller coaster forecast continues.
It does continue.
All right. Thanks, Chris. A man is found dead after a house fire in southwest Missouri. Emergency crews in Monette, Missouri put out the fire in the 300 block of 2nd Street on Tuesday. They then found the man's body in the basement. No word on his identity. Monette Fire and Police and the Missouri State Fire Marshal's office are investigating the cause of the fire. The man accused of shooting 3 people in Baxter Springs on Monday is now formally charged. 41-year-old Kyle Butts of Independence, Missouri is charged with 2 counts of murder, a count of attempted murder, and other crimes. Butts is accused of killing Jeremy Murphy and Craig Gwynn at a Baxter Springs home Monday afternoon. Their autopsies are scheduled for today. The 3rd victim, Seth Gwynn, was taken to Freeman. At last report, he remained in critical condition. Authorities in Aurora, Missouri last night arrested 2 people suspected of robbing a McDonald's at gunpoint on Tuesday. This is a surveillance image from inside the McDonald's on South Elliott. Police say around 10 p.m., 2 people wearing masks entered the store. One pulled out a handgun and asked an employee to open the register. Authorities say they found evidence used in the robbery, including the gun. The robbers had taken an undisclosed amount of cash and ran. No one was hurt during the robbery. Merriam-Webster Dictionary declares gaslighting as its 2022 word of the year. But what does that mean? Well, the dictionary defines gaslighting as a psychological manipulation of a person over an extended period of time that causes the victim to question their reality. The goal is for the victim to rely entirely on the manipulator, typically a narcissist, for their perception of reality. Mental health experts say gaslighting requires planting seeds of doubt in order to exert control and distort the victim's view of reality.
And it would be similar to someone who would walk through a room who is sighted. They can walk through a room just fine, but you ask them to close their eyes and walk through that same room, they begin to doubt their perception.
Mental health experts say knowing what gaslighting is can help you spot red flags and protect yourself from being gaslighted. Now, coming up in our 6 o'clock hour, our own Amber Jenkins sits down with some mental health experts and takes a closer look at gaslighting. Species of bat that's found in Missouri, Kansas, and Oklahoma has been declared endangered. The northern long-eared bat has been decimated by a fungal disease called white nose syndrome. The disease is named for the white fuzzy spots that appear on infected bats, and it attacks bats' wings, muzzles, and ears when they hibernate in caves and abandoned mines. Because of this, some caves where the bats live have been closed to the public.
It's kind of a situation of a rising tide lifts all ships. Do something across the board, and it does help a number of bat species. So habitat care, stay out of caves.
The disease was first documented in the U.S. in 2006. It has infected 12 types of bats and killed millions. Well, this morning we're discussing monitoring kids' online activity.
Police in Riverside, California are pouring through triple murder suspect Austin Lee Edwards' digital footprints. They're trying to pinpoint how and when the 28-year-old, posing as a 17-year-old, met and developed an online relationship with a Riverside teenager.
The former Virginia state trooper died of a self-inflicted gunshot wound during a shootout with police in the Mojave Desert hours after police found the bodies of the girl's mother, 38-year-old Brooke Wynick, and her grandparents, 65-year-old Sherry Wynick and 69-year-old Mary Wynick, in their burnt home. Now, police say a neighbor tipped them off after growing suspicions of Edwards' car and noticing the girl appeared to be in distress.
That brings us to our question for you this morning. Should parents monitor their kids' online activity? You can vote yes or no, and you can do so through our website at koamnewsnow.com/vote. You can also do so in our app and, of course, take part in the discussion on our Facebook page. All right, as promised, a look at that 7-day forecast for you. So far, by the way, we'll get those results in. Don't worry. It's just loading. 7-day forecast, though, we get up to 58 tomorrow with those 50-mile-an-hour wind gusts, 20% chance of some showers. Getting through the weekend, 40 Saturday, 51 on Sunday. More rain chances Monday and Tuesday. We warm back up Wednesday and Thursday next week with more rain Thursday. Then we do not get out of the 30s as we wrap up next week.
That's a look at our top news story. Well, meet a high schooler who started a unique way to meet some new friends.
Plus, Prince William and his wife.
Topping World Watch, Spain's government says there was an explosion at Ukraine's embassy in Madrid on Wednesday. An employee handling a letter was slightly injured and is being treated at a hospital. In response, Ukraine has ramped up security at all of its embassies. Ukraine's foreign ministry says whoever is behind the explosion will not intimidate Ukrainian diplomats or stop their daily work to strengthen Ukraine and counter Russian aggression. Spain, which is a NATO country, has sent military equipment to Ukraine to help its armed forces fight Russia's invasion. Xi Jinping, the Chinese communist leader who paved the way for the country's emergence as a global superpower, has died at the age of 96. The former chief of the ruling Communist Party and state president died of leukemia and associated multiple organ failure in Shanghai after being shunned by the West following the 1989 Tiananmen Square massacre. China, with Xi as its top leader, successfully reintegrated itself into the international community by regaining sovereignty over Hong Kong, winning the bid to host the 2008 Olympics in Beijing, and perhaps most importantly, joining the World Trade Organization. Well, parts of Boston were lit up green overnight with British royals William and Kate in town to present a major environmental award later this week. Now, this is the young couple's first trip to the U.S. since the passing of Queen Elizabeth II. Michael George is in Boston with more on the royal visit, which will include a meetup with the Commander-in-Chief.
It was a royal welcome for the Prince and Princess of Wales Wednesday on their first U.S. visit in 8 years. Here to present the Earthshot Prize, which honors environmentalists. They kicked off the trip by helping turn Boston City Hall green.
Catherine and I are absolutely delighted to be with you today for our first engagement in the great city of Boston.
The couple also took in an NBA game courtside, watching the Boston Celtics beat the Miami Heat. Some locals spent much of the day just trying to catch a glimpse.
Is it exciting to have the Royals here in Boston?
Oh, it's very exciting. Very exciting. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
I'm hoping they come over and we can say hi to them.
The Prince and Princess decided to present the Earthshot Prize here in Boston partially because it was home to President John F. Kennedy. William has said Kennedy's famous moonshot speech was his inspiration for launching the award.
Boston was also the obvious choice because your universities, research centers, and vibrant startup scene make you a global leader in science, innovation, and boundless ambition.
This is also the couple's first trip to the U.S. since Harry and Meghan, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, gave up their royal duties and relocated to California.
This is a really important few days for the Waleses to get their message over about what the royal family is for, what working members of the royal family are for, the good that they can do.
The White House says President Biden plans to meet with the Prince and Princess in Boston tomorrow, though the details are still being worked out. Michael George, CBS News, Boston.
William and Kate are set to visit a climate technology incubator just outside the city today. They will then host a star-studded event tomorrow night to hand out awards worth more than $1 million to climate change entrepreneurs. That's a look at some of your biggest headlines from around the world. Here's Chris with another look at your forecast.
Yeah, we're going to have the winds picking up as we head into this afternoon. We've got wind gusts pushing 20, 30, possibly even upwards of 40 miles an hour for some of us. And as we go into the afternoon, or into the overnight rather, wind gusts start reaching 40, upwards of 45 miles an hour. And as we head into tomorrow, if that wasn't windy enough for you, we're going to see those 50-mile-an-hour wind gusts returning. So make sure your trash can is secure. Make sure you don't put up your Christmas inflatables tonight or tomorrow night, because as you see, we head into the evening, those winds do not let up. Right now in Joplin, we are clear and we are cold, and the winds are calm, at least calmer than what they're going to be. 29 feels like 20. Temperatures across the region are still, of course, quite cold. We got 30 Neodesha, 30 in Parsons, 28 Chanute, 27 Pittsburgh, 28 Miami, 30 in Neosho and Monette. Live look at the MoDOT camera at 36 in Range Line, looking good so far. We do have a green light for your morning commute, as we'll be mostly clear in the 20s to near 30, but the winds will be a little bit calmer. As we head into the afternoon, it's a yellow light as the winds pick up. We'll be sunny in the 40s, but again, those winds gusting 30, maybe even 40 miles an hour. So if you're traveling on an east-west highway, that's where you're going to have the biggest concerns, like I-44, Highway 54, parts of Highway 400. You're going to have to watch out. Kids getting on the bus, they're going to need that coat, 28 degrees at 7 a.m. By the time they get home, they probably will still need that jacket with the wind blowing like that. 46 by 3 o'clock and mostly clear. Heading through today, you're looking for a high of about 49 degrees. Not too bad otherwise, as you can see. You discount the wind, and we've got a pretty decent day, sunny skies. Of course, the wind holding on tonight. We're going to hit this low of 37 at about 9 or 10 o'clock tonight. And then with that strong southerly breeze, temperatures will slowly warm to near 50 by sunrise tomorrow with partly or mostly cloudy skies, rather. 7-day forecast. 50-mile-an-hour wind gusts tomorrow, 58 degrees, maybe a stray shower or two, 40 Saturday, 51 by Sunday, more rain Monday and Tuesday, 53 and 45, and then we warm back up again, at least a little bit by Wednesday, back to 53 with mostly cloudy skies. We've got a lot more of the KOAM Morning News coming your way right after this.
Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. A man is found dead after a house fire in Southwest Missouri. Emergency crews in Monette, 300 block Tuesday. They then found the man's body in the basement. No word on his identity. Monette Fire and Police and the Missouri State Fire Marshal's office are investigating the cause of the fire. The man accused of shooting 3 people in Baxter Springs Monday is now formally charged. 41-year-old Kyle Butts of Independence, Missouri is charged with 2 counts of murder, a count of attempted murder, and other crimes. Butts is accused of killing Jeremy Murphy and Craig Gwynn at a Baxter Springs home Monday afternoon. Their autopsies are scheduled for today. The 3rd victim, Seth Gwynn, was taken to Freeman. At last report, he remained in critical condition. And authorities in Aurora, Missouri last night arrest 2 people suspected of robbing a McDonald's at gunpoint on Tuesday. This is a surveillance image from inside the McDonald's on South Elliott. Police say around 10 p.m., 2 people wearing masks entered the store. One pulled out a handgun and asked an employee to open the register. Authorities say they found evidence used in the robbery, including the gun. The robbers took an undisclosed amount of cash and ran. No one was hurt during the robbery. Merriam-Webster Dictionary declares gaslighting as its 2022 word of the year, but what does it mean? The dictionary defines gaslighting as a psychological manipulation of a person over an extended period of time that causes the victim to question their reality. The goal is for the victim to rely entirely on the manipulator, typically a narcissist, for their perception of reality. Mental health experts say gaslighting requires planting seeds of doubt in order to exert control and distort the victim's view of reality. That's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before before you head out the door.
And as you head out the door, we've got windy conditions building in. Now, this morning winds are calm, but by this afternoon, we've got gusts from 20, 30, even upwards of 40 miles an hour across the area. As we head into the overnight hours, those wind gusts increase to 40, maybe even 45 miles an hour. And heading into Friday, wind gusts continue to increase up to 50 miles an hour. And they do not let up by tomorrow evening either. So make sure your trash can is secure and make sure that your Christmas inflatables do not inflate tonight or tomorrow. 29 in Joplin right now. Light breeze making it feel like 20. Cold temperatures across the area as well. 26 Center, Iola, 28 in Fort Scott, Nevada, 29 Carthage and Lamar, 28 Miami, and 30 down in Neosho. Live look at the MoDOT camera at 36 in Rangeline. Looks good. We do have a green light for your morning drive as we'll be mostly clear in the 20s and the winds will be calm, but we do have that yellow light for the drive home. If you're traveling on an east-west highway, that's where you're going to run into the biggest problems because these winds will be out of the south. Will be sunny and otherwise in the 40s. Kids getting on the bus this morning going to need a coat. 28 degrees at 7 a.m. and they may still need that coat when they get home with the wind blowing like it will be. 46 by 3 o'clock. Got a high of 49 slated for us today. We'll have sunny skies and clear skies as we start the evening, and we're going to hit an early overnight low, say around 9, 10 o'clock of 37 degrees, and then temperatures will warm through the evening up to near 50 by sunrise with mostly cloudy skies. 7-day forecast looks like this. 58 tomorrow, those 50-mile-an-hour wind gusts, maybe a stray shower. 40 on Saturday, 51 Sunday, more rain Monday and Tuesday, and then we warm back up again to 53 by next Wednesday. Got a lot more of the KOAM Morning News headed your way when we come back.
We'll talk about a meet and greet. A high school senior in Virginia has created a unique student club.
And it's one you can really sink your teeth into. And as Rob Cardwell reports, it's a big hit.
I've always wanted to make a club. I feel like they're very valuable for building stronger communities, and it's a good way to meet friends, and I love food, so I wanted to tie it in somehow. My name is Jack Alexander Cheatham, and welcome to Charcuterie Club.
Meet friends.
Really?
At a club made for being social.
I always say it's Jack's world and we all just live in it.
T-shirts missing. If you are good at drawing or just want to make a t-shirt, make one.
When Jack pitched the idea to counselor Jackie Sleemaker,
The seat has been added.
the club's sponsor at Monacan High School, he told her sweet dreams are made of cheese.
And I thought it was just going to be like a handful of kids hanging out after school, and it's kind of taken on a life of its own.
I was surprised too. Just a lot of people showed up the first meeting. I did not expect it to be this big.
You gotta cut it like this? Nearly 100.
Everybody put down your utensils and cheese.
Amazing. Grazing.
Dang, this one is like really good.
Socializing.
You guys are talented. I see the promise.
Perfectly paired with a little education. Meeting in the library, students can look up countries where certain charcuterie items originated.
Look at this giant cheese.
And Jack is learning something about himself.
Learn how to speak in front of people. I mean, if you would have told me 2 years ago that I was doing an interview on the news, I would be like, what is wrong with you?
And teachers are learning how much these students are into everything from provolone to prosciutto. It doesn't have to be ritzy, just yummy.
And the teachers don't provide anything. The kids provide all of it.
So all you have to do to be a part of this club is really just be interested in meat and cheese. So
Fun? You feta believe it. Inclusive, delicious, and educational.
Well, that's a little cheesy idea, but I guess it works.
Yeah, I think that's a club I could have gotten involved in.
Yeah. Speaking of clubs, the Pittsburgh High School Culinary Arts Club is hosting a bread sale, and we're going to have more details on that later this morning when we have Chef Anthony in studio. And guess what we're making today?
Is it bread?
Yes.
All right. I'm telepathic. Got some ESP
It's a hard
going
one to
on.
figure out. Yes. So we'll be talking about all different types of bread that they're making and their sale, and get to test some ourselves.
All right. Sounds like a good time. What is not going to be a good time is 50-mile-an-hour wind gusts. We're going to break down your forecast when we come back. We got some windy conditions ahead of us today. Calm to start, and then we've got wind gusts pushing 20, 30, 40 miles an hour by this afternoon. Heading into this evening, yeah, the winds don't let up. We get 40, 45-mile-an-hour wind gusts by early tomorrow morning. And as we go through tomorrow, we've got those wind gusts returning to right around 50 miles an hour, and they do not let up as we go through Friday evening either. Right now, though, not too terribly bad. 30 degrees in Joplin, clear skies. Feels like 22 with that light breeze, so thankfully the wind isn't blowing any harder right now than what it already is because it'd feel very cold. 28 in Chanute, 30 in Parsons, 28 Chetopa, Miami, 30 Neosho, Monette, and 29 Lamar and Carthage. footage. Live look at the MoDOT camera at 36 in range line, looking good. A few more cars out there. Got a green light for the morning drive as we mostly clear, 20s in near 30. The winds will be calm. It's this afternoon. Yellow light for your drive home, especially if you're on an east-west highway. Those are going to be the most susceptible as we've got a south breeze out of this. Will otherwise be sunny in the 40s. Clear skies, so not bad. Kids getting on the bus. They're going to need a coat, 28 degrees, mostly clear, a light breeze, and then the wind picks up this afternoon, 46 and mostly clear skies by 3 o'clock. Mostly clear, sunny skies as we head through the afternoon and at a high of 49. Then we're going to hit a low of 37 right around 9, 10 o'clock tonight. And with that strong south wind, temperatures will slowly rise towards sunrise, getting us up to about 48 degrees. Heading into the weekend. 40 degrees Saturday, 51 on Sunday, maybe a stray shower or two either days. I think most of us are going to remain dry. And as we look at the 7-day forecast, we get to 58 tomorrow with those 50-mile-an-hour wind gusts. And again, maybe a stray shower or two. By Monday and Tuesday, more rain chances build in. We're 53, 45, so a little bit cooler. And then we try and warm up again next Wednesday as we get to 53 for a high. Got a lot more of the KOAM Morning News coming your way when we come back.
Right now at 6, emergency crews respond to a fire in southwest Missouri and discover the body of an unidentified man.
Calm for us right now, but big winds on the way. We're going to talk about the winds and our temperatures coming up.
And the 2022 word of the year is gaslighting. Our own Amber Jenkins sits down with mental health experts who say it's an important word to know and the reasons why.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. I'm Tanya Bach.
I'm Chris Warner. It is 6 o'clock on this Thursday morning, which now means tomorrow's Friday. But this is also the first day of December.
It is.
How did that happen?
Where did November go?
I have
For
no
real?
idea. You know, I even noted that about Thanksgiving. Like, you know, we go to my brother's house every year. Usually, you know, we're there a few hours. It feels like a few hours. Boy, this time it just flew right by. I mean, we were done before the day seemed like it even got started. We do have some pretty big changes coming in our forecast, and it's going to be in the form of wind. Look at this. We got wind gusts later today pushing 20, 30, 40 miles an hour. We head into tomorrow. Guess what? This is still tomorrow, but early tomorrow morning, about 2 a.m., wind gusts pushing 40 to 45 miles an hour. By the time we get into Friday afternoon, look at this, wind gusts returning to that 50-mile-an-hour mark, and even by Friday evening, they don't let up a lot. So make sure your trash can is secure and do not inflate your Christmas inflatables. This is not the night to do it, nor is tomorrow night. Right now, though, the winds are calm. 30 degrees, and even with a calm wind, gives us a wind chill of 22 in Joplin. So imagine if that wind was gusting to 50, what that wind chill would be like right now. Temperatures across the area, still a cold start to the day. 28 in Neodesha, Chanute, 27 Pittsburgh, Fort Scott, Nevada, 28 in Miami, and 31 down in Neosho. MoDOT camera at 36 in range line. We're looking good so far. Again, as long as the cars are flowing, that's a good thing, right? Got a green light for that morning drive. Winds will remain calm for that first half of the day. Mostly clear skies, but we do have a yellow light for the drive home, especially if you're on an east-west road or highway. We're going to have a south breeze with this, so that's what you need to watch out for as we head into the afternoon. The kids getting on the bus. We're looking at 28 degrees at 7 a.m. with a light breeze, and by the time they get home, it's going to be very windy, 46, mostly clear by 3 o'clock. Heading for a high of about 49 degrees today with sunny skies, so not bad in terms of how it's going to look, but that wind is really going to be howling as we go through the day. Now look at 8 o'clock. See, it's 38. Our overnight low tonight is 37, but we're going to hit that about 9, 10 o'clock tonight. And then with that strong south breeze, temperatures will begin to warm towards sunrise, and we're pushing near 50 by 6 a.m. with mostly cloudy skies. And a quick check of the weekend, 40 on Saturday, mostly cloudy, 51 on Sunday, partly cloudy. There's a stray chance of a random shower either day, but I think most of us are going to stay dry. But we do have additional rain chances as we head into next week. We'll break down the 7-day forecast here in just a couple of minutes.
All right, a lot to talk about. I'm looking forward to a rise in those temperatures very soon.
It's going to be a roller coaster though, so don't get too hooked on the rise.
Yeah, there's a fly.
I tell you, they know when they're on TV. That's why they come over here.
It was headed for your mouth and then mine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll get him.
Yes. All right, thanks, Chris. Well, the man accused of shooting 3 people in Baxter Springs Monday is now formally charged. 41-year-old Kyle Butts of Independence, Missouri is charged with 2 counts of murder, a count of attempted murder, and other crimes. Butts is accused of killing Jeremy Murphy and Craig Gwynn at a Baxter Springs home Monday afternoon. Their autopsies are scheduled for tomorrow. The third victim, Seth Gwynn, was taken to Freeman. At last report, he remained in critical condition. Authorities in Aurora, Missouri last night arrested 2 people suspected of robbing a McDonald's at gunpoint. And this is a surveillance image from inside the McDonald's on South Elliott. Police say around 10 p.m., 2 people wearing masks entered the store. One pulled out a handgun and asked an employee to open the register. Authorities say they found evidence used in the robbery, including the gun. The robbers took an undisclosed amount of cash and ran. No one was hurt during the robbery. A man is found dead after a house fire in southwest Missouri. Emergency crews in Monette put out the fire in the 300 block of 2nd Street yesterday afternoon. They then found the man's body in the basement. No word on his identity. Monette Fire and Police and the Missouri State Fire Marshal's office are investigating the cause of the fire. Merriam-Webster Dictionary declares gaslighting as its 2022 word of the year, but what does it mean? The dictionary defines gaslighting as a psychological manipulation of a person over an extended period of time that causes the victim to question their reality. Mental health experts say gaslighting requires planting seeds of doubt in order to exert control and distort the victim's view of reality. The goal is for the victim to rely entirely on the manipulator, typically a narcissist, for their perception of reality.
Narcissism is a characteristic that's often found in gaslighters because narcissists often have this capacity to see their own reality, make their own reality, and express their own reality.
Mental health experts say knowing these terms can help a person spot red flags and protect themselves from being gaslighted. Coming up a little later in the show, our own Amber Jenkins sits down with some mental health experts and takes a closer look at gaslighting. Freeman Health System yesterday recognized 25 future nurses. The students have completed 2 years of schooling at Crowder College as part of their work to become licensed nurses. Yesterday's event was set up like an athlete signing day where the students were able to sign their letters of intent to work at the next level after school.
I'm absolutely loving this. I know, of course, being a job as a nurse, it is not easy, and so just to be able to pour our resources back into them is always such a great feeling. They definitely deserve it.
Family and friends of the students were able to attend this ceremony. Well, there's a new sculpture in Joplin honoring the 161 victims of the 2011 tornado. And Active Lifestyle Events is a group that helps put on activities promoting active lifestyles, including the Joplin Memorial Run. And yesterday they unveiled and dedicated to memorial sculpture at the Harry M. Cornell Arts and Entertainment Complex. Features the names of all those who lost their lives because of the tornado.
To celebrate the lives of these people, that left us. But to build a memorial that they will always be with us, after the disaster.
Families of the tornado victims were invited to the unveiling.
All right, sunrise today, 7:13. Sunset tonight will be at 5:01. As we head into tomorrow, we got those 50-mile-an-hour wind gusts, 58, maybe some showers out there. Cooler through the weekend, more rain chances Monday and Tuesday, and then we're mostly cloudy Wednesday and 53.
All right, that's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, Chef Anthony Fisher from Pittsburgh High School. Well, he wants to bake, break, and talk about bread. All right, specifically where you can go to get some tasty homemade varieties.
Plus, one of the voices behind the celebrated group Fleetwood Mac goes silent as Christine McVie passes away on Wednesday at the age of 79. We'll take a look back at her life and legendary career.
And a new driving simulator could help teens with ADHD keep their eyes on the road. We'll bring you the details. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back. First,
He's still on the air. Find out if we're on air. We're in a commercial, but
I didn't understand you.
he said that he's trying.
Welcome back. We've got Chef Anthony Fisher from Pittsburgh High School in the test kitchen this morning. Looking forward to making some bread and breaking some bread with you today.
Yes, super excited. How are you today?
I'm doing pretty good. It's
So,
pretty good.
Well, we're going to start. This is a very simple sweet bread recipe. This is one of the tried and true recipes that I use all the time. It's very easy to use.
Is this the one that's been passed down in your family?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, yes, yes.
I've tried this one. Looking forward to
So
it.
this one's actually really good. We're going to start with 2 eggs. And actually what we're going to start with is 2 packages of yeast.
Yeast.
Warm water and salt in there. And you're just going to let that allow the yeast to come alive.
It?
Yes. And then I give it a little mix with my
It's
whisk.
floating on top in there. Yeah.
And give it all a little mix, and it starts to come alive and wake up and get ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm going to put my eggs, 2 eggs, 2/3 of a cup of sugar, and 3/4 of a cup of oil. Has to be oil. Into another bowl. I'm going to whisk those together until I get a pale yellow, smooth consistency.
Okay. What type of oil did you use?
I use vegetable oil.
Vegetable oil.
Because that's what was always been used, so I use the same one. And then you have this nice, beautiful, almost buttery color consistency inside. Works out really well.
Okay.
And then put your whisk away if you like it, because this next part will break it.
Oh, it'll get too thick.
It'll get way too thick and you'll end up breaking your whisk and then you'll be angry.
You got your gloves on?
Yes, because this is the messy part. I'm going to add, I have 8.5 cups of flour here. Now, depending upon the humidity for the day and a lot of other factors, you may or may not need to use all of the flour. The dough will only take as much as it needs, so you kind of have to watch.
Okay.
And we're going to do it in bits. I'm going to add probably about half of it.
Okay.
And I'm going to take my yeast water. I'm going to add some of it to it. And then I'm going to take my pastry scraper and I'm just going to start folding it in over on top of itself and moving my bowl. Now, this recipe is so wonderful. You could actually put all of these ingredients right into a bread machine and it would do this entire step for you.
Mm-hmm.
So it works wonderful.
So if you have a mixer, like this is where you use that arm bar thing?
You would use a dough hook, yes.
Dough hook?
I like to
More
do this.
technical term than an arm bar thing.
I like to do this by hand because as you can see, it's already starting to come together and it doesn't take much.
Okay.
So I'm going to put a little more flour in. And I'm going to add some more of my water. And this does get messy. This is the part that the kids really like. So if you want to do this with the kids, this is a great thing to work on.
Okay.
So we're just going to keep folding it all together. Once you have all of your water in, you're going to start to notice it's going to thicken up quite a bit, but you want it to be just a little sticky when you roll it out onto your cutting board. And just keep on mixing and folding everything in, making sure that you keep the sides scraped down. Okay, now we're just a little too sticky, just a little bit more flour.
May end up using most of it.
You do use probably between 7 and 8 cups on average.
Okay.
But you want to have at least 8.5 cups set to the side so you can be ready to go with it.
What happens if it's too sticky?
It won't pull off the cutting board, it won't pull off your bowl, you end up losing quite a bit of it, and then it just doesn't seem to come together for you.
Okay.
So,
And then if it's too dry, then it's...
if it's too dry, then you have to start over.
Oh.
So, all right, and there we have everything all together. And I'm just going to roll that, put a little flour down, and roll it right out of my bowl. And then I'm just going to start to knead it together. I always flatten it out first, and then fold it in.
That means
Over.
it's ready to roll.
It's time for the morning, time to make sure I'm halfway to school. Over and back and then halfway over again. And I do this until I have a nice uniform ball of dough in front of me, and you'll see as you press it down,
Do you work
it
on making
seals.
bread with your students in school? I'm going to get
Yes, we're actually getting ready to start our bread sale. It starts today, and we're doing beignets and various other sweetbreads, and this dough is the dough that we'll use. And you can make cinnamon raisin bread for those of you who have the nostalgic for it. And my mom would make a giant bowl of this. I mean, a really big bowl of this. She'd keep it on the bottom shelf of the refrigerator, and we could walk in anytime we wanted. My brother would make cinnamon rolls with it,
Oh, wow.
and she'd make sure we had fresh rolls every night for dinner. And it doesn't take any time to put together because, as you can see, it's almost together.
Yeah. I mean, this is a 5-minute segment, and we've got it done.
Yeah, this is beautiful dough to use. This is my go-to, tried and true. I know this is going to work every time I pull it out of the batch.
Okay, so you're just going to continue. How do you know when you're ready?
You just kind of want to look at it a little bit. It's not as sticky as it was.
Mm-hmm. You want a nice little ball.
And it stays together in its ball, just like so.
So are we going to cover it?
We're going to put it back in our bowl
Oh, sorry.
that we mixed in, yes. And we're going to leave, yes, there's flour and everything in there, but that's fine. It'll keep it from sticking to the bowl. We're just going to lay it right in the middle, lay a piece of plastic over the top of it. If you're going to make this into bread in the same day, turn your oven on, put it right in the middle in between the burners. Unless you have a gas range, then you can set it right on top of the grate for the gas range. On electric stoves, I don't ever recommend you put it on the burner.
Okay.
So
how long does it need to rise for usually?
It'll double in size, depends on the temperature of your
Once
house.
it's doubled in size, then a few hours or so?
A few hours, roll it out, cut it in half, put it into loaf pans, and away we go, which I'll show you later on this
We will
morning.
let this one rise, and we're going to come back on the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 and finish out our sweetbread and talk more about this bake sale. We'll be right back.
Topping Nation Watch this morning, music fans everywhere are mourning the loss of Fleetwood Mac's singer-songwriter Christine McVie, who died Wednesday morning. Fox's Ashley Dvorkin has more on her life and legacy.
A tragic loss for the music world. Christine McVie, the co-lead vocalist and keyboardist of legendary rock band Fleetwood Mac, has died. Her family announcing on social media she died in the hospital after a brief illness. McVie, who wrote and sang some of the band's biggest hits, including Everywhere, Don't Stop, and You Make Lovin' Fun, was born Christine Ann Perfect in the United Kingdom in 1943. She played piano as a child and started performing with her first rock band in the late 1960s. In 1970, McVie joined Fleetwood Mac, 3 years after the band was founded, alongside her then-husband, Fleetwood Mac bassist John McVie, who she married in 1968 and divorced in 1976. The pair remained bandmates. Christine, along with Mick Fleetwood and Stevie Nicks, penned most of the band's songs, and ultimately her soulful sound led to her singing lead on more songs than her other co-lead singers. Over the years, McVie also released multiple solo albums. Fleetwood Mac was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1998, the same year she announced she was leaving the band. McVie largely took a break from singing and the public eye until she reunited with the band in 2014, last playing with them in 2019. The band releasing a statement reading in part, quote, "She was truly one of a kind, special and talented beyond measure. She was the best musician anyone could have in their band and the best friend anyone could have in their life." Christine McVie was 79.
That's a look at one of today's top national stories. We have wind increasing across the area. We'll have gusts later this afternoon pushing 20, 30, even 40 miles an hour. As we head into tonight, those wind gusts increase from 40 to 45 miles an hour. And then as we head into tomorrow, we're back to what we saw Tuesday. Wind gusts pushing upwards of 50 miles an hour, perhaps a pinch higher. And as we go into Friday evening, they really don't let up. So secure your trash cans, secure your Christmas inflatables. Do not blow them up tonight, tomorrow, or tomorrow night. All right, real quick check in Joplin. 30 degrees, light breeze making it feel like 22. Cold across the region as we've got 2068 Center, 28 Chanute, Pittsburgh, 30 Lamar, Carthage, 31 in Neosho, and 28 in Miami. For your morning drive, we do have a green light as we mostly clear and in the 20s with calm winds. We switch to a yellow light this afternoon as we're still sunny and decent temperature-wise, but those winds start gusting 20, 30 miles an hour. Kids getting on the bus, 28 degrees at 7 a.m., and when they get home, 46 and breezy, mostly clear. We are heading for a high today of 49 degrees with those sunny skies and windy conditions increasing. We'll be back with more of the KOAM Morning News right after this, but first, here's a live look at Mercy Park's tree trail in Joplin.
Topping Health Watch this morning, a computer-based program and driving simulator training may help teens with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder keep their eyes on the road when they're behind the wheel. Researchers at Cincinnati Children's Hospital Medical Center found teens who took the training had a nearly 40% lower risk for crash or near crash. Before you raise a glass, research from the National Cancer Institute shows more than 50% of Americans are not aware of the links between alcohol consumption and cancer risk. Alcohol is associated with 7 cancer types, including breast, mouth, and colon, and contributed to more than 75,000 cases, 19,000 deaths between 2013 and 2016. Today marks World AIDS Day. Government data shows about 1.2 million people in the U.S. have HIV. 13% do not know it. CDC estimates indicate new HIV infections decline from 2015 to 2019. That's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
We've got windy conditions on the way. We're calm for this morning, but as we head into this afternoon, we've got winds gusting 20, 30, even upwards of 40 miles an hour. We head into the overnight hours early tomorrow morning, winds now gusting 40 to 45 miles an hour. And as we get into tomorrow afternoon, those wind gusts pushing 50 miles an hour, perhaps a little bit more. And they do not let up as we head into Friday evening. So don't inflate your Christmas inflatables, as we've been saying, and make sure your trash can secure. 30 in Joplin feels like 22. Cold temperatures across the region. 28 Chanute, 29 Parsons, 28 Miami, 30 in Lamar and Carthage. Live look at the MoDOT camera, 36 in Range Line. Your morning drive looks good. A green light, we're clear, winds are calm. It's your afternoon drive. We have that yellow light, as even though we're sunny, we got those winds increasing on us. And if this is a south breeze, so if you're on an east-west highway, that's where you're going to run into the most problems. 28 degrees at 7 a.m. when the kids get on the bus, 46 and breezy by the time they get home at 3. We're heading for an afternoon high of 49 degrees with sunny skies and very windy conditions. Heading into tonight, we're getting an overnight low of 37 by about 9, 10 o'clock, and then temperatures will warm overnight to near 50 by sunrise with mostly cloudy skies. Now, as we head into the weekend, first tomorrow, 58, maybe some rain chances, very gusty winds. 40 on Saturday, 51 on Sunday, and some rain chances building Monday and Tuesday of next week, clearing out by Wednesday. We're back with more of the KOAM Morning News right after this.
Right now at 6:30, emergency crews respond to a fire in southwest Missouri and discover the body of an unidentified man.
Calm start to our day for us today, but we have winds increasing across the area. We'll talk about temperatures and those wind speeds coming up.
And the 2022 word of the year is gaslighting. Our own Amber Jenkins sits down with mental health experts who say it's an important word to know and the reasons why.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's now 6:30. I'm Tanya Bach.
I'm Chris Warner. So we have a pretty cold and calm start to the day, but that's going to change as we head into the afternoon, as we're going to start to see some wind gusts out there. They're going to be pushing 20, 30, 40 miles an hour by this afternoon. As we go into the early morning hours tomorrow, it's about 2 a.m., winds picking up to 40 to 45 miles an hour. And as we head through the day tomorrow, wind gusts start reaching the 50 mile an hour range across the region by tomorrow afternoon, and they do not let up, so do be aware of that. This is a south breeze, so if you are traveling on an east-west highway, you've got to be careful because these winds could knock around even smaller vehicles when they're blowing at 50 miles an hour. Right now in Joplin, we got clear skies, 30 degrees, feels like 22. Still a cold start for us across the region. We got 28 Chanute, 29 Parsons, 28 Chetopa, Miami, 31 in Neosho, and 30 in Lamar and Carthage this morning. Live look at the MoDOT camera, 36 in Range Line, traffic picking up, and green light for that morning drive as the winds are calm, we're clear, and in the 20s near 30 degrees. The yellow light, though, for the drive home for those gusty winds pushing 30, 40 miles an hour, but at least we'll be sunny. Kids getting on the bus, a little bit on the chilly side, 28 degrees with a light breeze. Winds pick up this afternoon, 46 at 3 o'clock. Heading for a high today of 49 degrees under mostly clear skies. And then look at 8 o'clock, 38 degrees. Our low is 37, but we're going to hit that about 9-10 this evening. And then temperatures will start to warm through the overnight hours, and we'll be near 50 by sunrise with mostly cloudy skies. And a quick check of the weekend. A little cooler Saturday, 40 degrees, mostly cloudy, 51 on Sunday. A stray shower possible each day, but most of us are going to remain dry. We'll take a look at our 7-day forecast and the roller coaster of temperatures we have ahead of us here in just a couple of minutes.
That roller coaster ride is continuing, that's for sure.
I'm starting to get a little nauseous from it.
Yeah, as I get older, I don't enjoy it as much.
Right, exactly, exactly.
All right, thanks, Chris. Well, a man is found dead after a house fire in southwest Missouri. Emergency crews in Monette, Missouri put out the fire in the 300 block of 2nd Street yesterday afternoon. They then found the man's body in the basement. No word on his identity. Monette Fire and Police and the Missouri State Fire Marshal's Office are investigating the cause of the fire. Merriam-Webster Dictionary declares gaslighting as the word of the year for 2022. KOAM's Amber Jenkins spoke to mental health experts about the term.
Merriam-Webster defines gaslighting as a psychological manipulation that takes place over an extended amount of time that calls the victim to question their reality.
It's that your opinion has to be significantly different than others. And so sometimes that gets confused with trying to take power and control over someone else by trying to convince them something that is true isn't.
Being gaslighted can make you feel like you're in a dark room with your eyes closed.
And it would be similar to someone who would walk through a room who is sighted. They can walk through a room just fine. But you ask them to close their eyes and walk through that same room, they begin to doubt their perception.
Narcissists lack empathy, making them more prone to gaslight someone.
Narcissism is a characteristic that's often found in gaslighters because narcissists often have this capacity to see their own reality, make their own reality, and express their own reality.
Gaslighting is about gaining control and power in the relationship.
In our society in this time and age, I think control is something that we're all looking for, but we kind of look for it in the wrong kind of places and in the wrong way.
Having a term to define this behavior helps people spot the red flags.
I've been in relationships with guys that had narcissistic behavior, and now looking back, I'm like, they were gaslighting me. And now I know going forward, I will act differently towards that because I know what it means now.
Remember, your mental health is important, and leaving the situation should be a priority. Reporting in Joplin, Amber Jenkins, KOAM News.
Searches for the word gaslight on the Merriam-Webster Dictionary.com increased more than 17,000% this year. Freeman Health System yesterday recognized 25 future nurses. The students have completed 2 years of schooling at Crowder College as part of their work to become licensed nurses. Wednesday's event was set up like an athlete signing day where the students were able to sign their letters of intent to work at the next level after school.
I've been an ER tech for 2 out of the 3 years that I've been with Freeman, so I'm just taking on a lot more responsibility with taking care of patients. I'll be in charge of my patients, and I'll have more responsibility.
Family and friends of the students were able to attend yesterday's ceremony. Seneca Elementary and Intermediate Schools held a competition to collect food items for the Seneca Food Pantry. Each class had a different food item to collect. For example, one grade collected juice, another grade collected cereal boxes. Food is collected through the entire of November.
I was so excited to see all these groceries, and I know the work that these teachers and faculty must have done to collect all this, and the students, and we just so much appreciate it. They are a great bunch of people.
The winner in each grade won a sweet prize, a donut party. Well, Gordon Parks Museum at Fort Scott Community College celebrated yesterday's Gordon Parks' birthday. Gordon Parks was a photographer, musician, writer, and film director born in Fort Scott. The celebration had presentations, a workshop, and showed films throughout the day.
are proud of our Fort Scott, Kansas native Gordon Parks and the things that he has accomplished in his life. He is self-taught in photography, filmmaking, and music, and poetry, and amongst other things.
Among the films shown, one of the films was Criterion Collection, The Learning Tree.
All right, check out that 7-day forecast. 58 tomorrow with those 50-mile-an-hour wind gusts and maybe a stray shower or two. We cool down through the weekend, warm back up Monday. Rain chances Monday and Tuesday. We cool down Tuesday, and then we warm back up again Wednesday, mostly cloudy and 53.
That's a look at our top news stories. Coming up this half hour in the KOAM Morning News, the House passes a bill to block a potentially crippling sick leave for rail workers. And now it's on its way to the Senate, where it faces an uncertain fate.
Plus, we're having another look at your forecast when the KOAM.
In Consumer Watch this morning, in a big speech in Washington Wednesday, Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell said the Fed may still raise interest rates higher, but the pace of those hikes could slow as soon as this month. Powell said there's some good news on inflation, predicting the price of housing and rent would decrease next year. But he also acknowledged the country has a long way to go in the fight to stop inflation, with a hot labor market and the price of services such as dining out and travel continuing to rise. Well, DoorDash is the latest tech company to slash jobs. The food delivery company is eliminating over 1,200 corporate jobs, saying it hired too many people when demand surged during the COVID-19 pandemic. It comes the same day government data showed there were 10.3 million job openings in October, down from 10.7 million the previous month. And now Chick-fil-A lovers can show off their loyalty through fashion. The chicken chain this week launched its first ever merchandise collection, selling items like mugs, t-shirts, blankets, and hoodies with prices ranging from $15 to $75. Chick-fil-A says it expects the swag to sell out quickly, but it will add more items next year. Lawmakers in Washington took a major step Wednesday towards preventing a potential railroad strike set for next week. The House voted to use congressional power to block a strike, and now the bill moves to the Senate. Bradley Blackburn has more on what's at stake.
With a lot riding on the rails, the House of Representatives said no on Wednesday to a potential railroad strike.
The joint resolution is passed.
In an overwhelming vote, the House approved a plan to force railroad companies and their unionized workers to stick to a settlement brokered by the Biden administration back in September. It was later rejected by some unions.
Today, we are here to safeguard the financial security of America's families, to protect American economy as it continues to recover, and avert a devastating nationwide rail shutdown.
Business groups say the strike could cost the U.S. economy $2 billion every day and put the brakes on shipments of commodities like coal and lumber, even holiday gifts. President Biden has urged Congress to act, frustrating his union allies.
The president believes that a bill averting a rail strike needs to reach his desk by this weekend.
I respectfully disagree with him and how he's going about doing this, because what he's doing is taking away the members' right to strike.
The bill needs to be approved by the Senate first, which will also take up a separate measure passed by House Democrats that would add 7 days of paid sick time to the agreement, which some unions have been fighting for.
This last-second desperate move to add paid sick leave is it's unprecedented congressional intervention.
If the government doesn't block the strike, the railroads could grind to a halt next Friday. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News, New York.
That's it for Consumer Watch. Here's Chris with another look at your forecast.
Yeah, we've been talking about the winds all day because it is going to get windy by this afternoon. Wind gusts pushing 20, 30, 40 miles an hour by this afternoon. We head into the overnight hours. Winds increase from 35 to 45 miles an hour. And we go into tomorrow, it gets even windier. Winds picking up to 50 miles an hour, perhaps greater. So make sure your trash can's secure, your inflatables do not inflate tonight or tomorrow night, because they will not be there come tomorrow. 7th and Rangeline, sun starting to rise, looking pretty good. 30 degrees, feels like 22, some clear skies out there. Temperatures across the region, still a cold start to the day. 29 Neodesha, Independence, 28 Chitopa, Miami, 30 Carthage and Lamar. Looking at 36 in range line, boy, it's a lot of cars out there this morning. A lot of folks heading to work. We do have a green light for that morning drive as we're clear. The winds are calm. It's this afternoon. If you're traveling on an east-west highway like I-44, Highway 54, US 400, US 160, that's just to name a few, you're going to have to watch out for that southerly breeze that's going to be picking up later this afternoon. Kids get on the bus. 28 degrees at 7 a.m. and when they get home, breezy, 46, mostly clear. We're heading for a high of 49 degrees with those winds. And as we go into tonight, we'll hit an early low of 37 about 9, 10 o'clock. And the temperatures will rise towards sunrise near 50 by 6 a.m. And as we look into the weekend, a little cooler Saturday, 40 degrees and 51 on Sunday. And maybe a stray shower or two, most of us staying dry. We're back with more right after this.
Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. Amanda is found after a house fire in southwest Missouri. Emergency crews in Monette, Missouri put out the fire in the 300 block of 2nd Street on Tuesday. They then found the man's body in the basement. No word on his identity. Monette Fire and Police and the Missouri State Fire Marshal's Office are investigating the cause of the fire. 41-year-old Kyle Butts of Independence, Missouri is charged with 2 counts of murder, a count of attempted murder, and other crimes. Butts is accused of killing Jeremy Murphy and Craig Gwynn at a Baxter Springs home Monday afternoon. Their autopsies are scheduled for today. The third victim, Seth Gwynn, was taken to Freeman. At last report, he remained in critical condition. And authorities in Aurora, Missouri last night arrested 2 people suspected of robbing a McDonald's at gunpoint on Tuesday. Police say around 10 p.m., 2 people wearing masks entered the store. One pulled out a handgun and asked an employee to open the register. The robbers took an undisclosed amount of cash and ran. No one was hurt during the robbery. Merriam-Webster Dictionary declares gaslighting as its 2022 word of the year, but what does it mean? The dictionary defines gaslighting as a psychological manipulation of a person over an extended period of time that causes the victim to question their reality. The goal is for the victim to rely entirely on the manipulator, typically a narcissist, for their perception of reality. Mental health experts say gaslighting requires planting seeds of doubt in order to exert control and distort the victim's view of reality. That's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door.
Mostly clear today, heading for a high of 49. Winds start gusting this afternoon, upwards of 20, 30, even 40 miles an hour. Winds increase overnight, pushing about 45 miles an hour. Early low of 37, about 9 or 10 o'clock, and then we'll start to warm towards sunrise, be near 50 by 6 a.m. under mostly cloudy skies. We got 50-mile-an-hour wind gusts expected tomorrow, 58, maybe some showers out there. 40 Saturday, 51 Sunday, more rain chances Monday and Tuesday, and then back to 53 by next Wednesday.
Well, coming up today at noon, we're making sugar and spice nuts in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
Interesting. And of course, your morning news continues on KOAM with CBS Mornings. And if you're thinking about a trip in the new year, well, we've got you covered. The new Condé Nast Travelers List of best places to go in 2023. That's coming up on CBS Mornings.
Or you can switch on over with us on Fox 14, where your only local morning news continues. And this morning, we've got Chef Anthony Fisher back in at our studio here to talk about breaking bread.
Yeah, he's
and
going to
baking some
break
bread.
it and bake it.
Yeah.
We'll learn all about bread. That's going to wrap it up for us for now. Thank you so much for sticking with us today. We'll see you back here tomorrow morning at 5 a.m.
And we're going to do it again today at noon.